Hey, fight fans, thanks for joining us and welcome to The Weigh-In, the show that spotlights the latest MMA bouts and the topics surrounding the sport. I'm Dorian, Mr. MMA Hernandez, and with me as always is Nathan Tyrone.
And today we're going to bring you our segment we call The Truth About, where we spotlight some of the more high-impact topics facing the sport today. And today we're going to discuss mixed martial arts in New York. Mixed martial arts has been banned in New York since 1997. And today Mr. MMA is going to illuminate, elaborate, and let us know a little bit about that.
All right. Well, first and foremost, let's start out, like my co-host said, it since 1997, okay? A totally different decade, okay? And this sport has grown by leaps and bounds in safety, in excitement, in interest, and it's a shame and more than anything, a disgusting, disparaging thing towards sports that New York hasn't lifted this ban. But let's start out why this came about. Okay, everyone knows that the parent company of the UFC is Zuffa LLC. Yeah. Okay, they're the main partners, Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta and Dana White. Okay, but most people don't know is that Palace Station Casino in Las Vegas is also owned by the Fertittas. They were casino owners before they became owners of the UFC. Now, prior to them owning the purchasing the UFC, they pretty much owned the Palace Station Casino for about 17 plus years. And in all those years, they've never had any complaints from their employees, no picketing, no reports to the Better Business Bureau. They pretty much ran a great and well-run company. Yeah. Everyone was pleased. But then the UFC starts making money after 10, 11 years. And the employees of the Palace Station Casino decided to get together, get themselves some legal representation, and approach the Fertittas about unionizing. Now, in unionizing, the employees of Palace Station Casino would stand to make about $10 to $11 million of the UFC's money, not Zuffa LLC, of UFC's money, which they had no hand in helping build or get to the point that it is now. Now, I don't begrudge anybody wanting to get a better wages and better living. Right. But you don't take from where you never partook in and that you didn't in any way, shape, or form earn. Help. And this is what was insulting. So the Fertittas did what anybody would. They said no. Yeah. Okay. And in saying no, what did the employees do? They decided to enlist the culinary unions of Las Vegas. And this is where it gets interesting because Dana White has said it in interviews before.
Called them bullies.
Okay, the culinary union is about 6,000 plus members strong in Las Vegas. But while that only 6,000 strong in Vegas, there's 16,000 strong here in New York. Okay, and no union is going to turn on its own brothers. No. So more than anything, since it wasn't legalized in New York, they used all their political power and lobbying to basically not get it passed. The key person in that, Sheldon Silver, the former Speaker of the Assembly, who has now been brought up on federal indictment charges. Criminal. Okay, and he's been the biggest opposition because even though it passes through the Tourist and Parks and Recreation Commissions, then passes through the Senate, it has to ultimately be brought up for a vote at the Assembly. Right. And who never brought it up but Mr. Silver. Yeah. So now it got to the point where the UFC, trying every legal measure that they possibly could to get this moving forward, they decided to sue New York State on the grounds of violating their fighters' constitutional rights. And I was behind this lawsuit. I really thought that they had a good case because you have almost every other single sport that makes up mixed martial arts allowed professionally in competition and have regulated, but yet you put them together and you're following legislation from decades ago. Okay, it is no longer the same sport in which that legislation was even created. Definitely. So at least go back to the old laws and readdress them before you say it's a ban and it's staying that way. Right. But like I said, the UFC went for their lawsuit. 3 years later, unfortunately, it was dismissed. And it was dismissed under wording, if you could believe that, wording. It was due to the fact that it wasn't about violating their fighters' constitutional rights, but the judge saw it as an issue of vagueness. Yeah. Okay, and more than anything, that the UFC should follow up on an appeal due to vagueness. But we've already hit a point in this. Now that Sheldon Silver has now been removed from seat due to the federal indictment charges, more than anything, the new speaker, Carl Heastie, who has already spoken in an interview and said that he's for the MMA bill, will hopefully in the next 3 weeks bring it up for a vote at the assembly. So it's a very, very crucial and pinnacle point for everyone who's loved MMA and has been sticking to it, signing those electronic petitions,
Right.
going out there.
Good
I've
job,
been one of
guys.
those. We are finally might see our day, and we're so close, folks, that the UFC has already reserved December 5th at the Garden.
I'm excited. I'm excited as every New York fight fan should be. I mean, the Fertittas and the UFC in general, rather, have made leaps and bounds of changes to what the UFC was prior to their purchase. It's now a sanctioned, legitimate sport instead of just two martial artists showing off their prowess, no holds barred.
Yeah, for $60,000.
Right. Yeah, really.
It's a one-day tournament.
Yeah, exactly. And those were dangerous tournaments. Not like any fighting. Anytime you get into a one-on-one physical competition, there's danger involved. But they've done everything they could to make sure that, you know, their fighters are safe. And if you watch our Truth About PED segments, Mr. MMA goes into exactly what kind of safety measures the Fertittas have offered their fighters. So here's to hoping and praying that we fight fans in New York will finally get to see the guys we follow, the guys we're watching, the guys we love to watch fight here in New York. You know?
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm like at the edge of my seat already.
As am I. I mean, I'll get some nosebleed seats, but I'll be there. Okay, I might not be front row with all you big ballers, but look for me in the bleachers.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and don't forget to click subscribe down there in the corner and tell us what you think about this whole legality mashup mix-up problem that New York City has faced trying to bring mixed martial arts into the heart of it. And we want to thank you for watching, and join in next time.